Finite math students, this is going to be a short video, just a quick introduction that will explain some of the basics of using Mathematica, which is the software that I asked you to download and install on your favorite computer at home. Let's see. So here is Mathematica. Okay, so the first thing, I can see here the font is so small, I can barely see it. So I'm going to make that a little bit bigger, okay? Go up here to the top, Format, Edit Style Sheet, okay? Select Input, and then select Output. And then I'm going to select text. And I think that's going to be enough for now. Now, for some strange reason, I made the default a lot bigger and bolder, but it really didn't affect the font globally, which is really what I wanted. But that's okay. We don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to highlight the input. Go up here and show fonts. And I'm going to type in, let's say 18. That's still not very big. How about 24? That looks nice and big. Okay. And Arial in bold. That looks nice. And let's do the same thing for the output. Go up here and show fonts. I'm going to choose 24 points. And I'm going to do the same thing for text. Let's choose 24-point font. And my preference is for Arial. Use whatever font you want to use. Okay, that's your choice. Let's see. For the input, I'm going to change the color a little bit. How about dark blue or midnight blue? And then for the output, let's see. Color, we can make that kind of a deep red. Make it a little deeper. Okay, that looks nice. And I'm going to leave the text black. Actually, let me make the output a little bit darker. Let me make the output a little bit darker, like a nice deep brownish red. Okay. And that looks really good. So let's see, 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, I could go back here. 2 plus 3 is 5. And I could even make this a little bigger if I want to. Up here in the upper right, you can see the magnification. What I could do, let me see here, format, style sheet. Well, that's okay. I think what I could, okay, let me see. Format, go to Option Inspector. Selected notebook. Search for magnification. And instead of 100%, I'm going to type in 1.2 or 120%. And that should work. Okay. I can't pause it. I can't pause it. Oh, good. Okay, so Okay, so one second here. Let me go back to Format, Option Inspector, Selected Notebook. Yeah, that's really where that things didn't get a little bit more magnified, but that's okay. So, oh, I see. You know what? Let me change this back to 1. Let me go here to magnification. Oh, these are printing options. These are printing options. So let me go to magnification. Let's do 1.2. Yeah, now everything looks a little bit bigger. So yeah, did you see that? So if I enter like 0.5, you can see everything is really teeny tiny. And if I enter, let's do 1.25, then everything is actually a little bit too large in my opinion. Let's go back to 1.2. 1.2. Okay, and printing magnification for printing options. Yeah, guys, let's keep the magnification. Okay, what's going on here? Come on. Let's keep the magnification at just at 1. Wait a minute. 1 point. 1 second. Let me make sure we're okay here. 1.0. Here, 1 second. Okay, and that looks really nice. So we can do other things. Let's see, edit style sheet for the output. We can make light green the background color for the output. So light green will be the background color for the output. And you know what? Let me change that color just a little bit. 1 second. Text color. Let's make it a nice dark green. A nice dark green. There, okay, that looks lovely. Okay, so as you can see, guys, you can change, you can change the look of your Mathematica notebook. This is called a Mathematica notebook. Okay, you could call it a Mathematica file, but in general, it's called a Mathematica notebook. That's the name of a Mathematica file. And the extension is always going to be .nb. All of these files have an extension of .nb, which is simply short for notebook. The extension of the file is .nb, which is short for notebook. Okay, so besides 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, which is really easy, let's talk about more interesting things that we can do with Mathematica. Mathematica uses a lot of lists. It uses lists. What is a list? Okay, so a list is always going to be delimited with curly braces. For example, this is a list of all the integers from 1 to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is a list of all the integers from 1 to 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. up to 98, 99, 100, etc. Okay? So let's say, for example, I want a list of names. A list of names, okay? So I'm going to store this in a what's called a variable, or I'm going to assign a value to it. I'm going to call it animals. Animals, aardvark, cat, dog, snake, fish, shark, let's see, hyena, lion, tiger, bear, wolf, leopard, dinosaur, and let's see, rabbit, rat, mouse, puppy, kitten, puppy, kitten, Chachki, quiet. Rabbit, rat, mouse. Okay, that was my dog. I'm talking to my dog. Sorry about that. Rabbit, rat, mouse, puppy, kitten. Oh, what else? Let's add a couple more. Seal. And how about horse? Maybe one more. Donkey. And let's see. Seal, horse, donkey, chimpanzee, and how about eagle? Eagles are beautiful. Okay, so it's a list of animals, and for some reason, you know, let's say I'm working on a problem and I have to have this list of animal names. It's a list of animal names. Okay. So let's see. Aardvark, cat, dog, snake, fish, shark, hyena, lion, tiger, bear, wolf, leopard, dinosaur, rabbit, rat, mouse, puppy, kitten, seal, horse, donkey, chimpanzee, and eagle. So how many animals do I have in my list? Let's check it out. Length, animals. There are 23 animals in my list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and yes, 23. So there are 23 different animal names in my animals list. And rather than counting how many names I have in the list, it makes a lot more sense to just use the length command or the length function. Okay, does that make sense? Let me just see something right here for a moment. Okay. Okay, so here, yeah, the software that I'm using for this video does not allow me to pause the video. I would have to just stop it, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so I would use the length command, or guys, quiet down just a little bit, okay? The length function or the length command is what I will use to see how many elements I have in my list. Okay, so let's say that I want to reverse my list. I want to reverse my list. Oops. Okay, let me put my cursor over here on the next line. Reverse animals. So now I can see that my list begins with eagle and ends with aardvark. However, I have to be really careful because guess what? The list really wasn't changed. It really wasn't changed, not at all, because the original list is still there. It begins with aardvark and it ends with eagle. So in order to make the change permanent, I have to do what's called an assignment. Animals is equal to reverse animals. Okay, now I'm going to type a comment. This makes the reversal of the list permanent. So now the list has been permanently reversed. Permanently reversed. So now my animals list begins with eagle and ends with aardvark. Okay? And if I type it again, I'm going to see the same list. It begins with eagle and it ends with aardvark. Okay? So what if I want to pick out one or just a few names from my list? Animals 1, what do you think that's going to return? That should return eagle. Shift enter. Now, by the way, guys, when you're doing this in Mathematica, you press the shift key, you hold it down, and then, you press the enter or return key. Hold down the shift key and then press enter or return. Same thing. I'm going to write that down. Press the shift key, hold it down, and then press the enter or return key. Shift enter. Okay. So animals and then double brackets 1, that's going to return the first name or the first animal in my list. Now, obviously, what I have here is not really an eagle, guys. This isn't really an eagle. This is called a string. It's a word. It's just a word. It's a piece of text. And in the English language, it represents a big, powerful bird. But this is not really an eagle. This is a word. This is a word, but it represents or symbolizes an eagle. A type of bird, right? Okay. What if I want just eagle, chimpanzee, and donkey? I want the first 3 names, right? So animals, and then 1, semicolon, semicolon 3, and then I'm going to get eagle, chimpanzee, and then donkey. What if I do this? Animals, -1. That's going to give me the name at the very end of the list, which is aardvark. So what if I want dog, cat, and aardvark? Dog, cat, and aardvark. Animals, -3, -1. So now I see, and remember, these are semicolons. They are not commas, they are semicolons. So now I have the last 3 names of my list. I have dog, cat, aardvark. Okay. So there are, this may seem really simple, but actually it's really important because as we use Mathematica more and more to solve various problems in this class, we are going to be using a lot of lists. And you guys really need to understand how to work with lists. Let me show you one more thing, and I think that's going to be enough for today's video. Okay. Let's say I have a name like dog, and I want to make it plural. Well, I'm going to add an S. Okay, so this is called the concatenation operator. It is called the concatenation operator. Okay, So it changes, it adds an S to the end of the word. It's very simple, right? Okay, so let's say I wanted to add an S to all of these words. Now, that's actually not going to work for every word. Like, for example, mouse, the plural of mouse is mice. It's not mouses. And what else? I think actually for fish, the plural of fish is fishes, which that's spelled with es at the end. So it's not really going to work for every single word, but it's going to work for most of the words, okay? So let's say I wanted to add an S at the end of every single name in my list. Let's just say I wanted to add an S. How would I do that? Now, the thing is, you could do this operation for every single name, and that's going to get really tedious and time consuming. And then why would you even bother using a computer anyway? So what you're going to do is create a function. You're going to create a function in Mathematica. Let's build our first function. Okay. So I'm going to call it add s. Call it whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it add s. And it's going to take a name of an animal. And I really need that underscore, guys. I must have that underscore because without it, I'm going to have problems later on in the body of my function. So I must make sure there's an underscore that follows the label, the name of my variable, and I'm just going to call it name, but you could call it X or Y or Z or A or B or C, or whatever you want to call it. Colon equals, okay, name, S. Let's see if that works. Add S, dog, dogs. Add S, cats, cats. Add s, rabbit, rabbits. Add s, dinosaur, dinosaurs. Okay, so I have a function, and my function simply adds an s at the end of the name of the animal. So I'm going to have to change all of these words here. I want to add s to all of these words. Actually, yeah, it doesn't work for wolf either because the plural of wolf is wolves. Let me see here. Hold on one second. So the plural of wolf is, wait a minute, okay. 1 second. Wolves. Right, that's the plural of wolves. It's not wolves. So yeah, the English language is a little bit weird. Usually you add an S to make a word plural, but not always. There are some exceptions, but the English language has many rules, and every rule in English seems to have many exceptions. And that's why, a lot of people actually think English is a pretty confusing language. And you know what? It is. It definitely is, right? Okay, so, but it should work for most of the names that we have over here. So the way that I'm going to change my list is this way. I am going to create what's called a mapping. Mapping is when you apply a function to every element of a list, and it actually transforms every element of the list. So here's what I'm going to do. Add s, okay, and I'm going to use the hash symbol, the hash mark, which simply, it's like an all-purpose variable. It's an all-purpose variable, okay. Close it, end with the ampersand sign, and this is the symbol for mapping. The / and then the @ symbol, animals. So now I have, let's see, eagles, chimpanzees, donkeys, horses, seals, kittens, puppies. I think this word is not really spelled correctly. That word should really be, in proper English, it should be spelled puppies. Puppies. Okay. But that's okay. Again, English is a confusing language. I sometimes think English is even harder than mathematics. Okay, so we have puppies, mouses. This should really be mice. Rats, rabbits, dinosaurs, leopards. Wolves should really be wolves. Bears, tigers, lions, hyenas, shark, fishes. This should really be, this should really be spelled Fishes, right? Fishes. Okay. Dogs, cats, and aardvarks. Okay, but generally the rule is most of the time, not always, but most of the time, if you want to make a word, if you want to make a singular, if you want to turn a singular word in English into a plural word, usually you just add s. There are exceptions to that, of course. Sometimes you have to add es. And sometimes you have to really change the word quite a lot, like when you're changing wolf to wolves, that has a lot to do with the history of the English language, okay? But this is how you change every name in your list. So what if I have something like this? Let's get back to numbers here. Let's talk about numbers. Let's see. My numbers range 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's say that I want to square, or actually let's put 0 in there. Let's put 0 in there. I'm going to start at 0 instead of 1. Range 0, 10. Shift Enter. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I want to square every number in my list. I want to square every number in my list. Okay, let's try this. I'm going to create my function, hash times hash. Remember, the hash mark or hash symbol in Mathematica is a general purpose. It's a general purpose variable, okay? Apply the ampersand and map it to my numbers. And so now I have the square of all of these numbers. So 0 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25, etc., etc., etc. But notice that the original list has not been changed. So what I would have to do is I would have to do another assignment. I would have to do my numbers is equal to, okay, my numbers, and now I can see that the changes are actually permanent. So to make the changes permanent, you're going to have to do an assignment. You have to assign the result of this transformation. You have to assign the result of this transformation back to the original variable name. Because if you don't do that, your changes will be lost. They will not be saved. Okay, so this is a transformation. What I'm doing right here is a transformation. Your transformation has to be saved in the original variable name. If you don't save it, the changes will be lost. Plain and simple. And for that, you have to do an assignment. This is called an assignment. When you use the equal sign, it's an assignment, okay? So I think, let's see, how long is the video now? It's about 30 minutes. I think this is a good start. This is a good introduction. I will do my best to create one more video for you to watch. I strongly recommend, guys, that you look for Mathematica tutorials on YouTube. YouTube has many, many, many Mathematica tutorials. You can also go to, let's see, one second. You can go to, one sec, wolfram.com. Okay, if you go to wolfram.com, so you can see here, it's a pretty large website. If you go to wolfram.com, learning and support, Wolfram Language Introductory Book. Yeah, I actually have this book in my personal library. I have a very large library. So you can look at the book online. You can read it for free online, or you can order it. It's not that expensive. You can also order this book from Amazon.com. And you can go through the book, and you can actually read some of the examples, operations on lists, images, real-world data, dates and times, units, coordinates and graphics. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with Mathematica. It's actually pretty good software. I really like it. I think it's an excellent it's an excellent app for helping people learn and teach and do higher mathematics. Okay, so you should take advantage of it, because I think it's going to help you with a lot of the stuff that we're going to learn to do in this course. Okay, so you have a lot of options, guys. You have a lot of options. Here, let me quit Google Chrome. Okay, so we have options. There are things that you can do. I explained some of this to you. I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm just going to show you one more thing. Let's say that I have, whoop, no, that's not what I want. Hold on. I don't, hold on a second. Let me go back here. Okay. Let me just shift enter, shift enter, shift enter. Oh, I see what happened. Okay, I erased my equal sign. Okay, shift enter, and then shift enter. Okay, terrific. Okay, we're back to where we started. Okay, so let's say, for example, I have all the numbers from 2 to 1,000, okay? I have all these numbers from 2 to 1,000. I have all of these numbers from 2 to 1,000. Okay. And I want to filter out only the prime numbers. Now, guys, I don't want to go into a detailed explanation of this, so I encourage you to look up, what is a prime number? What is a prime number, okay? Basically, the definition is very simple. It's a number greater than or equal to 2, whose only integer factors are itself and the number 1. Okay, so if you're not sure what that is, if you don't know what a prime number is, if you've never heard of it before, please, Google it, because I don't want to devote the next 10 or 15 minutes to explaining prime numbers. Okay, if you're not sure, If you can't figure it out after you Googled it, then email me and I'll try to give you an explanation. Okay. So I'm looking only for the prime numbers. So what I could do is cases. What did I call this? Range 2 to 1,000, comma, and I'm going to name a variable. I'm going to call it num. Call it whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call my variable num, and you have to use this symbol. So that symbol specifies a condition, and the condition is prime num is equal to true. Prime num is equal to true. So for example, prime 2, that's not quite what I wanted. You know, hold on. I thought this was going, hold on 1 second. So, oh, I see. This gives me the next prime number, and that's really not what I want. That is really not what I want. Let me look something up. So if you're not sure about something in Mathematica, you can look it up. Oh, prime cube. Prime cube is the function I'm looking for. That's right, prime cube. Is 2 a prime number? Yes, it is. Is 3 a prime number? Yes, it is. Is 4 a prime number? It's not, because 4 can be factored into 2 times 2, right? So 4 is not a prime number because 4 can be factored into the product of 2 and 2. Okay, so that's going to be false, right? 5, of course, is a prime number. 6 is not a prime number. 6 is not a prime number because 6 can be factored into the product of 2 and 3. Okay, so that's going to be false. So this function should be called prime q. Prime q. Q means question, prime q. And let's see what I'm going to get. Shift enter. Okay, so these are all the prime numbers, the prime integers between 2 and 1,000. So this is basically a way of filtering a list. What I'm really doing is filtering out the numbers from the list that are, or I'm filtering out the elements of the list that are specifically of interest to me. And then I could save this in a variable, or I should say could save it in a name. I should really call it a name, but a lot of people call it a variable. My primes, and there we go. Okay. You know, we could do something similar, actually. We could do something very similar with our animals list. Okay, we could do something very similar with our animals list. So, for example, okay, let me make sure this is going to work. That didn't, okay, hold on 1 second. Let me do this again. Okay, we can erase this. This is a mistake. Okay, so, yeah, I don't know how my cursor floated up there. That was a mistake. So, animals. Okay, so let's say I have eagle, string part eagle 1. Okay, so that's how I get the first letter. That's how I'm going to get the first letter of my name or the word. So let's try this. Cases, animals, I'm going to call it name. Okay. And string part of name, the first letter, okay, is going to be, how about D? So what do you think I'm going to get? Dinosaur begins with a D and dog begins with a D, and I think that's it. So the list will contain 2 animal names, dog and dinosaur, and I think that's it. Shift enter. Oh, and don't forget donkey. Donkey, dinosaur, and dog. Okay. Now, what if I want the names of all animals that begin with either D or, let's say, R? D or R. Then I would use the double pipe symbol, which means or. String part name 1 is equal to R, capital R, shift enter. So now I end up with donkey, rat, rabbit, dinosaur, and dog. Because I'm filtering my list to find the names of animals that begin with either a capital D or a capital R. And also remember that Mathematica is case sensitive. If I change this to a lowercase d and if I change this to a lowercase r, I'm going to end up with nothing. I'm going to end up with an empty list because none of these names begin with a lowercase d or a lowercase r. All of the names in my list begin with a capital letter. So if I make this a lowercase d and if I make this a lowercase r, I'm going to end up with an empty list, which is not what I want. Okay, so that's going to be D, and that's going to be capital R, capital D and capital R, shift enter, donkey, rat, rabbit, dinosaur, dog. Okay, so my little tutorial video is almost 45 minutes in duration. Excuse me. I think that's long enough. So guys, I will post another one of these videos for you sometime this week, but remember, do not limit yourself only to the videos that I make for you. Excuse me. It's important that you check out other videos, look at other tutorial videos for Mathematica. You know, go to Amazon.com, buy yourself a book on Mathematica, read it. Read about how to use the software. Look at other tutorials on YouTube. Look at tutorials that I created for other classes. You know, be resourceful, okay? Be resourceful. All right, guys, I think that's going to be enough for one day, for one video. Certainly enough for one video. Take care and good luck in your studies, and have a great day.